Remix is a web-based application that allows you to develop and deploy smart contracts on Conflux. It's one of the easiest ways to get started with smart contract development because you don't need to set up a local development environment. Remix is web-based, so you just go to the Remix website and you can start both developing your smart contract and deploying it on Conflux. This makes it accessible from any computer with a browser. Before you start, you need to have a MetaMask account connected to the testnet. You should have your MetaMask account set up and some testnet CFX available to deploy contracts. If you don't have testnet CFX yet, you'll need to get some from a faucet first. Once you have your MetaMask connected and CFX ready, you can create your contract in Remix. Create a new file, let's call it mytoken.sol, and paste your code. In your contract, you'll specify the version of Solidity you're using. You'll also import libraries, for example, from OpenZeppelin, which we mentioned before. This is the ERC20 standard, so you'll be creating a token based on this standard. The contract will have a constructor that will mint a certain number of tokens to the address that is deploying the contract. In order to create this token, you'll need to input the name of the token and the symbol of the token. Once you have your contract code ready, you go to the Compile tab. You need to make sure that the compiler version is compatible with the version specified in your contract. Select the compiler version and press Compile My Token. If everything is correct, it will compile successfully. After compiling the code, the next step is deploying it. Go to the Deploy tab. You'll select Injected Provider MetaMask in this case. If you're doing this for the first time, a pop-up will appear asking you to confirm the connection to Remix. You can see you're connected with your wallet, and it shows the amount of CFX you have. Once you're connected, you need to input the name and symbol of the token in the deployment fields. For example, let's put test token and call it TT. Click Transact, and there will be a pop-up in which you need to confirm the transaction and pay the gas fee for the deployment. Once the transaction is confirmed, your contract will be deployed. You'll see the status, the transaction hash, the deployer address, and the address of the contract itself. This is all the information about the deployment. You can see the gas fee, the transaction cost, and some log information. From all this information, take the transaction hash and go to ConfluxScan. Go to the Conflux eSpace testnet version and paste the transaction hash in the browser. This will take you to the transaction in which you created your smart contract. This is how you can easily create a token, and it doesn't take more than about 10 minutes. If you click on the contract in ConfluxScan, you'll see it's not verified. The problem with this is that no one can make sure that the code is actually what you say it is. By verifying the contract, you can prove that the code you say works for the contract is actually what is deployed on the blockchain and that there's nothing hidden there. The other importance of verifying the contract is that you can also interact with the contract from ConfluxScan. Let's verify it now. To do this, you first need is to input the contract address and select the compiler version. Then you will need to create a flattened file. Go back to Remix, right-click on your contract and click Flatten. This flattened file basically removes all the imports and creates one single file that contains all the code without importing anything. Copy this code, go back to ConfluxScan, paste the code, and fill the resting fields. Once you do that, submit it, and you'll see verification succeeded. Now your contract is verified, and everyone can check what the code looks like. You can see all the code, and you also have the contract ABI, which will be important for Web3 development if you want to interact with this contract from a Web3 application. After verification, there are new tabs that appear in ConfluxScan. You can read contract variables, for example, the balance of an account. You can also write to the smart contract, like approve and transfer. These are all the functions that were inherited from the ERC20 standard. There's also a function where you can transfer tokens from one address to another. This is your test token smart contract, and you can interact with it directly through ConfluxScan. Remix is a great tool for getting started with smart contract development. It's web-based, so you don't need to install anything, and it makes the process of writing, compiling, and deploying contracts straightforward. The process involves creating your contract code, compiling it, deploying it to the network, and then verifying it on ConfluxScan so others can see and interact with it. Once your contract is deployed and verified, You can interact with it through ConfluxScan or integrate it into your own applications using the contract ABI. This is a simple example using the ERC20 standard, but the same process applies to any smart contract you want to deploy. Remix is a good starting point, and as you become more comfortable with smart contract development, you can move to more advanced tools like Hardhat or Truffle for larger projects. Try deploying your own contract using Remix. It's a hands-on way to learn how smart contracts work, and you'll gain valuable experience that will help you as you build more complex applications.